From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello and welcome to this week's Wow Report on Radio Andy, where we count down the top 10 things from the past week that make us go wow. I'm co-founder of World of Wonder, Fenton Bailey, joined by our Chief Creative Officer. It always sounds like some sort of punishment. Chief Creative Officer,
I like it that way.
Tom Campbell.
Tom Campbell, hello.
And just all-round inspiration at large, editor of the Wow Report, Jane St. James.
That's me.
Yes, and Blake, of course. So, it's this week National Coming Out Day. So we thought we'd do something special, a special theme. What should we do?
We're going to do the top 10 coming out stories that made us all go, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming out stories that made us go, hey, girl, hey.
Welcome to the club.
All right. So we're coming to you from the Wow storefront here on Hollywood Boulevard. Come visit us, buy knickknacks, squirrel friends in cans, things of that nature, because we make Drag Race. And RuPaul's star is just outside. And as we sit here talking, it's been given a polish.
And a little sprinkle of glitter.
And some glitter.
Every day.
Always puts the glitter on RuPaul's star on Hollywood Boulevard. It's a nice touch. You can watch us on YouTube on Wow Presents or listen on the radio.
Let's begin.
Let's. Number 10.
Number 10.
Who said this? I am proud to say that I am a fortunate homosexual man. I'm very blessed to be who I am. These years in silence and reflection made me stronger and reminded me that acceptance has to come from within, and that this kind of truth gives me the power to conquer emotions I didn't even know existed.
Lady
I know who
Gaga.
that was.
Who? I think I do, but is this, let's play 10 questions. Is this an older gay gentleman?
Give me an age range.
I'm going to say 50 plus.
No.
I know it is.
Who
it's
is
written
it?
down on this
Oh,
piece of
Kansas.
paper.
It's Enrique Martin Morales.
Oh, Ricky! Ricky Martin. Oh, my God, I love Ricky Martin.
And he came out in 2010. Not that long ago.
No.
10 years. Yeah.
He's one of those performers that as so many, that if you live in Hollywood, it's sort of understood that they're gay.
Right.
But it's,
But
never
maybe the fans didn't know.
Yes, or it's obscure enough that mainstream America doesn't know, or in Ricky's case, the world. Huge worldwide performers. No one's bigger than Ricky
Who's
Martin.
been famous literally since he was how old?
6
years old.
He was
Okay.
in commercials.
Menudo.
Yeah.
Then he was on General Hospital.
Yes, I remember.
And then, of course, the Mi Vida Loca, Livin' La Vida Loca breakout, which made him this a massive superstar.
Yeah.
And he does stuff all over the world we aren't even aware of. And
literally, he is the soundtrack of my life. Like,
Really?
we're about the same age, I think. Maybe he's a little younger than me.
he was born in 1971.
Okay, a little younger than me, but just a tad. But I do feel like that we could have been cohorts in a parallel timeline.
From a distance, I can't tell you two apart. His timeline is that he, for a long time, was in the closet and/or in this on-again, off-again platonic relationship with a famous Latin TV host for 14 years. In 2008, he had twin boys through a surrogate, kind of on his own. And then with Livin' La Vida Loca, there was a lot of, which was around 99, but people started asking questions, and it was the Mirror. And Barbara Walters actually on a 2020 interview asked him if he was gay, and had regret about it later. That wasn't my business, because it's this whole thing which we can get into as well. The idea of outing versus coming out.
But also within the Latin culture, I imagine it was hard in the 90s for him. I imagine times have changed a little bit, but it was in South America, and probably it would be like coming out to a red state.
Yeah. And in 2010,
Puerto Rico, though.
that first statement that I...
That's where he grew up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's Puerto Rican. But in 2010...
But he's massive, in a lot of Latin
He's
America.
a Latin superhero.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's a
around the
greater
world.
expectation of macho-dom.
Yeah, probably.
Which I think makes his coming out even more important.
I think so, too, definitely.
Because he's a sex symbol to everyone. And the statement that I started with is what he put on his website. in 2010 when he came out and made that statement. And I think I can relate to this. The idea that when you are partitioning your life, even if in your own head, a lot of people have stories like, I might have been bisexual. It's like, even if you know you're gay, and there are bisexuals, of course, too, but if you know you're gay, but you're keeping it from other people, or you're living a lie in some factions of your life, it doesn't allow you to be whole, to relate to people in a whole way. And he, is the harbinger of gay marriage because he had a boyfriend that became very close, and then he's the harbinger of gay divorce because they also divorced. He has a new husband that he announced in the Ellen DeGeneres show, who is Syrian and Swedish. And they're beautiful together. And I had the opportunity to spend a little time with Ricky a few months ago, and he's incredibly sweet and beautiful. And it was around the time that Puerto Rico had that Religious Freedom Act that was going to discriminate against gays, and he wrote a public letter. Happened to be the day that I got to meet him, and shortly thereafter, the now defunct governor of Puerto Rico turned it down. So, he's an activist now. Yeah. He's out there. I guess we can talk about this more, but like when you come out, to me is less relevant than the power it gives you by being out and by as a public person, even as a private person.
Well, I think there's often a misapprehension that coming out means revealing yourself to other people. And that can seem daunting, but paradoxically, coming out is really recognizing yourself to yourself.
Yes,
actually,
you said it brilliantly. Thank you.
And that's where you get the incredible strength from.
Yeah,
and that
you're not zapping your energy to hide or to make things up. I remember when I was really young, I would talk about relationships and have to edit out pronouns, be like, I know this person, whatever. Right. So Ricky Martin, thank you for coming out in 2010. And he also, there's a fun little tidbit I was reading that one of the reasons he took the role as Versace's lover in the American Horror Crime Story was because he wanted to shed positive light and normalize open relationships.
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
Well, that's a whole other show.
I know. I can't wait. Open relationships, the next Wow Report.
Well, leaving that juicy morsel on the table, let's go on to number 9, Jane.
Number 9.
Number 9 is someone that really, their coming out meant a lot to me, and it taught me a life lesson that I hadn't learned yet, even in my 48 plus years or whatever it was. It's Colton Haynes, who is a very attractive young actor who starred in Teen Wolf and Arrow and American Horror Story and Scream Queens. He was in San Andreas with The Rock. I don't know if you saw that.
I remember San Andreas. What part was he in San Andreas?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't see it.
He was squished. He was squished by something.
He started off his career as a model, and very early on in his career, he did a photo shoot for XY magazine, which was for young gays.
I do remember that cover.
Yeah, okay. And he was in a hot tub making out with a guy. And soon afterwards, when he got new management and when he was on Teen Wolf, the management company tried to scrub that image from the internet. Right. And as a blogger in the early, in 2009, 2010, 2011, it was something that frustrated me because you would get a cease and desist letter whenever you posted the picture.
And you probably posted it every other day.
I posted it every other day. And
didn't you just print it out and have it on your wall?
No. I was trying to point out the fact, the hypocrisy of the management company. This picture's already been out there. How dare you go back into the closet, Colton Haynes? How dare you? You are a celebrity now. You can help young children. Your celebrity can help people. I am from an older era. I worked at Outweek magazine. It was important during that era for gay people to come out of the closet, and I was very virulent about that. And so I was angry with Colton Haynes. You would see him out in West Hollywood with boys, but then he would, be on a date with a girl, for Us magazine or something like that. Right. And it was very, I was just, it enraged me, right? Well, the lesson that I learned was when he finally did come out in Out magazine.
That's your ride.
Right. When he finally did come out in Out magazine, he said that he had been battling depression and anxiety for decades, and that it started when his father committed suicide upon learning that he was gay. And that when he went to go get his father's things with his mother, the only picture on the refrigerator was a picture of him in 8th grade, the last time he had his father, the way his father wanted to remember him, as opposed to being straight. And the lesson, it just hit me like a bag of rocks. Like, I don't know what other people's baggage is. I don't know what their story is. I don't know what their backstory is. I don't know what they're dealing with. And I was angry with him for something that, bless his heart, he was really going through a lot. And you hear time and again, people come out at their own when they're ready. And I'm sitting here forcing someone to come out of the closet, and it wasn't my place to do that. And I felt terrible. And I just want to apologize to Colton for.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And all the people that you've
outed.
Well, because I wanted to go zip back on that moment to Out Magazine. Was it Out Magazine?
Out Week, yeah.
Because that was a singular moment, and there was certainly a strong feeling that if you were gay, you did.
It was your
owe
obligation
it
during the AIDS
come
epidemic.
It was a life and death time.
Michelangelo, who's here on Sirius XM, bless him, and a genius, would write in total uppercase. I think he invented screamy, shouty cats.
The reason why I was working at Out Week was because I was so furious when they put the cover story of Malcolm Forbes after his death. They outed him, and I would write angry letters to Out Week all the time. And they finally, Gabriel Rotello and Michelangelo said, "Look, why don't you come work with us?"
Between you and me, you were the only reason I read the magazine, because it was all very
political,
earnest, intense, political agitprop, and yours was Diary of a Mad Queen, James getting abused and
rolling in gutters.
Thank you. Yes,
that
but
type
it's
of
so
thing.
much better than I do.
But political movements can get gruff and crass and make even overstep at times.
Right.
Especially early on in
But
their.
you know what?
We
It
had
was
to.
so necessary.
Yeah, we had to do
like,
that to get to where
life
we
and
are now.
death.
For
But-
whatever mistakes were made, it was a crucial idea in establishing the need to be visible.
And a lot of people who, like Rosie O'Donnell, who was outed
Yes.
by Michael Musto and Michelangelo, is now great friends with the two of them, and has said, outing, it was the one. It was being out is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's a great takeaway from this.
Yeah, and there is a celebrity now. There's one or two out there who are still in the closet that drive me bananas. But I always think back to Colton, and I think I don't know what their I don't know what their reasoning is.
Right.
All right.
Number 8.
Number 8.
McKrae Game. Do you know who McKrae Game is?
No.
McKrae Game was the founder of something called Hope for Wholeness. Do you know what Hope for Wholeness was?
No.
Do you know he founded it after working for many, many years with Exodus? Do you know what Exodus was?
This sounds like gay reprogramming.
That's right. Exodus is gay conversion, Florida-based
Right.
gay conversion therapy. And McKrae Game is seen as one of the pioneers of conversion therapy. But earlier this year, in June, he came out and he renounced his life's work and he apologized. He said, "We have harmed generations of people." And his Facebook is a very succinct description. It says, "Former ministry leader and know-it-all, living a grace-based authenticity, true self, enjoying life out."
But
Okay.
But the thing is, and we're going to talk about this later on too, is I think I know where Tom falls on this, because we do have to open our arms and let people in when they realize they've made mistakes and say, we accept this, and now moving forward, let's try and do better.
However,
how many thousands of people did he harm? And at what point?
Well, he says generations, so that's a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he's
more
hurt,
than 3.
I mean, he really did a number on LGBTQ society. And I mean, like, what do we do?
Well, what do we do? I'll tell you what we do. It's National Coming Out Day week. And really, whenever they come out, whatever circumstances we come out, I think that is to be celebrated and to be grateful for. Notwithstanding, I mean, he's painfully aware of not only the harm he's done, but perhaps the lives he's cost.
What is he doing to repair? What reparations is he making?
Well,
being
yes.
out in public is one.
Right.
I think that's
Okay.
all. But
Okay.
I don't know all the details.
Yeah,
but.
well, he says, he realizes that for many people, a single apology isn't enough, and that he'll be apologizing for the rest of his life, and he's prepared to do that. And I think actually his example can perhaps be more powerful than many others, because here is a man who committed to a mistake and is saying it doesn't matter how long you were, doing the wrong thing or in the wrong frame of mind. There's no give it up, you know.
Yeah.
And if that can happen, I would have thought maybe it would encourage more people.
Well, there's a notion in 12-step programs that I apply to this a little bit in my head, see if it makes sense, which is they say no matter how far you have fallen in your alcoholism or your addiction and the awful things you may have done, that if you get sober and stay sober and kind of live a life of action, that your past becomes an incredible tool to others, because no matter how far you've fallen, the farther you've fallen, the more the fact that you've recovered or are in recovery, you can show that
anything's possible, right?
Anything's possible.
But don't
and
you,
it's such
but
a
you have to
beautiful
own
way.
that, though.
Yes, of course, and you have to be in action every day.
Yeah.
However that is, living amends, whatever you want to say, and that's such a powerful thing to me, because it's like what could be just awful and disgrace is saved. It's saved in the recollection that I once was lost, but now I'm found. Amazing grace kind of stuff.
That's absolutely right. And while we're talking about this subject, it's more, I think, I was going to talk instead of Game McKrae, McKrae Game, who I don't know from Adam, I was going to talk about Elton John, who I suppose I also don't really know from Adam. But I do remember being very angry when he finally came out, thinking, good God, you spent an entire career in the closet. But to Tom's point, I think we need to also remember that an environment where you could lose your career and your livelihood, an environment not so very long ago where you could even be locked up, where it was just fundamentally illegal, to come out in that kind of environment did arguably perhaps demand more than an environment where it's accepted. And it's all accepted because of the people who came out.
And not to sound too whiny, but I grew up believing, and this was not even forced on me, this is me understanding from church, that I was going to burn in hell.
Yes.
When I lived under a world, and I don't anymore, where there's heaven and hell that are firing, like I believe in good and bad. It's like I was going to burn in hell. That's a hard thing to deprogram out of your head.
But I have news for you.
What?
You're still going to burn in hell.
Oh, of course. It's called the World of Wonder.
You are in hell right now.
Well, they say that people find heaven by backing away from hell. Like, people that find heaven
I've
are
never
people
heard that
who've been to
expression.
hell and are
That's
backing
beautiful.
away. So, we all can live and learn.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you're only 2 episodes behind, so get caught up on RuPaul's Drag Race UK on Wow Presents Plus here in the USA. And actually most countries around the world, except in the UK where it's on the BBC. BBC Three, darling. New episodes every Thursday. And in fact, I have to tell you a story, because we were prepping for this episode, and I was just sitting here before we started rolling, and there's an article in today's Independent about this drummer in an alt-rock band who says that RuPaul's Drag Race made him come out. That he found...
Just this week?
Just this week.
Well, who is that?
Ash Kenazi from the band Happiness. It's a fabulous piece where he talks about being deep in the closet. He saw RuPaul's Drag Race, gave him the courage and the strength to come out, and now he does drag and he's happy.
I imagine that's a lot of people's story. I imagine over the last 12 years,
visibility, representation is so important.
It is.
And it's still important.
All right, you're listening to Wow Report on Radio. Andy, Blake, do we have a question?
Yes. In what year did National Coming Out Day begin?
Which is actually October 11th is the date.
Yes,
right?
It is
today.
Oh my gosh. I think it started in 1990. Oh, I'm supposed to.
We'll be right back after the break.
1870.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Tom and James and Blake, and we're having a fabulous coming out day kiki, counting down the top 10 celebrities who make us go
wow.
Or
oh no, hey girl, hey. Or
you mean the celebrities the coming out stories
Yes,
of celebrities?
or welcome to the family.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think we got it across between the three of us.
in our
Blake's
usual
rolling his eyes.
garbled way.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question, so let's hand it over to Blake.
In what year did National Coming Out Day begin?
Today, October 11th, is National Coming Out Day, and it first happened, I will guess for the group, in 1987.
Close.
92.
Further away.
89.
88. It was founded in '88 by Robert Eichberg and Gene O'Leary.
I'm only going to parade my ignorance. I don't remember. It's quite a new thing that I'm aware of.
Coming out there?
Yes.
Well, we all learn our own time.
Well, and good thing it's finally coming into prominence.
Yes.
Do you have a good coming out story?
Well, who? Coming out to who?
Well, so yes, it's because it's not once, is it? It's the
No.
gift that keeps on giving.
You come out, you come out,
Yeah.
you come out, unless you're a celebrity.
I'm saving mine for my book, so sorry.
Bitch. I came out to my father when he was driving the car because I didn't want him to hit me.
And he ran into a tree.
No, he just gripped the wheel a little tighter.
Foolish. Boom. I even did the British side of the car driving. I did really well.
It was so late in life; it was really ridiculous. I mean,
Were you in
I
your
don't think if you're in a
50s?
band called the Pop Tarts and you wear a lame toga that you actually have to come out to anyone. I mean, I would have thought it was self-evident.
Yeah.
So it was in your late 50s?
Just last week, as a matter of fact. Number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
Well, speaking about how old is too old to come out, this person came out at the age of 73.
Nice.
God bless
Having lived through and still is in one at the time, a 39-year-long relationship.
Oh.
And we're talking about Barry Manilow.
I'd forgotten that it was 39 years.
The
That's
man
right.
who started playing in gay bathhouses, right?
That's right. He's famous for being a backup for Bette Midler in the Continental Baths.
The
in early
pianist,
70s.
even.
The pianist. Oh, could be the
Sounds
flautist.
rude.
Skin flute. But Barry said when he came out, it was kind of publicized on People magazine in conjunction with the release of an album. Okay, whatever. We all need our
We have
motivation.
things to sell. I think why not?
And he said, considering his fans, I thought I'd be disappointing them if they knew I was gay, so I never did. And when they found out that Gary and I were together, they were so happy. The reaction was so beautiful. Strangers commenting, "Great for you." I'm just so grateful for it. I remember in '87 or something, I went to a wedding in Kansas City, and it just so happened that the hotel where everyone was staying in the hotel, there was a Barry Manilow concert there too, and it was full of Fanilows, and it was, and I'm just telling you what I saw. A huge population of overweight women with big T-shirts that were like Barry Manilow T-shirts. So he's always attracted, like women outsiders. Like he's always
Do you
been
want
their
to say
gay best
sort of
friend.
fag hag sort of
I didn't
thing?
want to use that
I know,
expression.
but it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think the misapprehension was that his female fans actually wanted him in a carnal way, and I don't think that was the nature of the attraction at all. And I'm sure they were actually happy that he was gay and not.
Well, it's a bit like, young girls falling for this sexually unthreatening pop star, the Donny Osmond types. Where it's not that you actually want to bed them. It's that you want someone safe who will, cuddle with you. And that's sort of probably what they wanted with Barry. They wanted him to, coo and sing songs to them in bed. Right.
And in his, not in defense, but you put yourself in the headset. I was alive but very young. He was one of the biggest stars in the world in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was thrust upon him. I mean, he wanted it, but overnight you're suddenly famous. I can't imagine. And
Well, he'd been writing commercial jingles
Right.
for decades.
But at a time, and suddenly you get the intoxication of fame and fortune, and then you live in a time when there are no being gay is illegal till 1973. There's no role models. There's no one who said, "I got through this and I'm okay."
And
why wouldn't you stay in the
And
closet?
every professional voice is saying, "Stay where
Yes,
you are.
all the people
Stay
you
put.
trust.
Keep your head down."
Professional
right?
voices your management is saying that, but at the same time, a lot of times when you're famous, you think to yourself, I give so much to the public. I need something private for myself. I need to keep this.
That's
I need
true.
James,
to.
I'm
yeah.
so proud of you.
Okay.
And he said he's a very private person. We went to the Desert AIDS Project benefit
Yes.
that recognized him a few years ago, and there was just a little footnote of the someone else said this, not Barry, but someone spilled the beans that the whole county, they'd cut music from the county school budget. So Barry Manilow bought every student who wanted a musical instrument, and handed it to him.
And
And that just tears me up because that is benevolence in action.
Because
And-
I'm an awful cynic, and I remember he used to say they were reading out testimonials and thank you for my piccolo, Mr. Manilow.
We giggle that. Thanks for my piccolo, Mr. Manilow. This became our favorite thing to say. It's all the time. Barry Manilow, thank you for coming out here on Coming Out.
I guess Mandy. Mandy has different meaning, right?
Man.
Man.
Van G. You came, you gave it that.
James, number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6. We're in tricky waters with this one, and I'm sort of breaking the rules here. I'm going to talk about Aaron Schock, Congressman Aaron Schock, who hasn't technically come out of the closet yet, but we're going there. But I'm going there. I'm just going to go there.
He's living an out life
and
on Instagram, which didn't used to happen.
And that's where I'm going with this.
But he's not out.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit and talk a little bit about who Aaron Schock is, because he was a U.S. representative from Illinois. He was from the 18th Congressional District. He from
Republican.
2009 to 2015. Yes, he was a Republican and a right-wing Republican at that. Yeah, he was the youngest congressman. He was the first congressman to be elected who was born in the 1980s. Which is sort of interesting. He was sort of a golden boy of the Republican Party, and there was no reason to believe.
What's he look like?
He's cute. He's a good-looking guy.
He's very good-looking.
Yeah, and
Blondie.
there was no reason to believe that he wouldn't go on to higher offices, and they were sort of grooming him to even someday maybe be the president. I mean, like there was talk of him doing all this stuff. Well, come to find out, he'd been abusing some taxpayer funds.
Didn't he over-decorate his office?
He decorated
like
it
the designing women threw up all over it?
No. He wanted it to look like Downton Abbey, which right there should have been a big red flag.
Oh my gosh, he is quite handsome.
Yes. A couple of things that he voted against. He voted against.
Oh my gosh. He's naked all the time.
Well, here, can we get to this?
Oh, sorry,
I'm telling a story here. I'm drawing out a timeline, so everyone's jumping ahead.
Okay.
So he voted against the federal hate crime bill. Which would have where victims were targeted on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, gender, and disability. He voted against a repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He voted against something about the Defense of Marriage Act. I think he was whatever the wrong stance on that was.
On the wrong
anti-gay,
side of
bad dude.
Yeah,
not a friend of the gays.
He was asked point blank in Details magazine if he was gay, and he said, "No, I am not gay."
Right.
I mean, he could be bisexual, he could be gay. We don't really know. He then was removed from office, like I said, for the Downton Abbey scandal.
But like a $50,000 desk.
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole place was just done up like
fabulous.
Yeah, like the Abbey. In 2014, then, he was, let me see. There was a blind item that said a Republican congressman from Illinois was pretending to be straight, but really he was showering with his male roommate and going to gay bars, which was sort of a very thinly veiled blind item. Even the New York Times said we've never seen a blind item that is so easily recognizable as being Aaron Schock. In 2019, he was then photographed. This year, he was photographed at Coachella.
Yes.
Shirtless with a bunch of alpha gays, a bunch of A gays. It looked like a circuit party. They were all cavorting together. It was very obvious that he was with these people. Then later in June, he was photographed at a gay bar in Mexico City,
like making out with people,
called the Zona Rosa. He was stuffing dollar bills in the jockstrap of a male go-go boy. So it seems like he's either inching out of the closet or he just doesn't care anymore.
Or he's doing that Republican thing and just blatantly lying about everything and just like, well, just because there's a picture of me on Instagram sucking off some guy, that doesn't make me gay.
Oh, that went dark. I wasn't going quite that dark. I wasn't going in that direction.
I think it's good to have point counterpoint.
Okay,
because
I was.
Thank you.
What I was going to say was that whether he is, whether he's coming out of the closet or when he does come out of the closet, once again, do we accept him or do we?
Well, here's the thing. Actually, in this instance, I feel like, yes, we do have to accept him begrudgingly, but essentially I feel no, because I think it's a new iteration of twistedness to be openly gay and be photographed doing this, that, and the other, and then not own the label and not take it upon you to identify that way. That, to me, is the essence, the quintessence of this Republican hypocrisy and fundamental lying about so many things.
Okay,
that is putting us in such a dangerous predicament.
I see you. I will raise you, Tom, and then I will have to say something because
you have the final word. But I just want to say, I think I found the middle ground, which is you can't forgive someone until they ask for an apology, and Aaron Schock has yet to ask for an apology.
Right. Okay. But by the same token, to what Benjamin was saying, is that when this is all said and done, when this Trumpian age is over, we're going to have to open our arms to a hell of a lot of Trump supporters who have since seen the way of the. If we're going to move on as a country, we cannot.
You're right.
We have to forgive and say we understand that you made a mistake and
assuming
let go.
There's life after nuclear winter.
I think there has to be consequences, and I think there has has to be punishment, and I think
No,
a
there has
number
to be
of people
punishment for Trump
have
and everybody
to go
down.
to jail.
No. All the Trump people do.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
And Aaron Schock as
like
well.
your
Why
aunt
not?
and uncle in Iowa. Your aunt and uncle in Iowa. Who
Yes,
are the-
send them too.
No, we have
Well,
to forgive.
you look again, Nazi Germany. You can learn a lot from studying that.
But
which we
even
can't get into here.
Germany had
They had war trials, but then they had to forgive masses of people who were supporting the Nazi Party.
But I mean,
but it was shameful.
But I'm talking about the
Right.
families on the ground had
Yeah.
to forgive their cousins and who
Yeah.
were. I mean, like
I agree.
you have to forgive to move forward, and do
Right.
we extend that to Aaron Schock?
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody has to feel bad before you can forgive.
His did.
okay.
Yes, and I think Aaron Schock just needs to stand up and own it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can't be photographed with Elton John. There's a photograph of him with
coming out
Elton
day.
John on Instagram.
It's coming out.
Come
today.
out, Aaron. Come
Aaron,
out.
Come on out. Come on the Wow Report. We love you.
And Elton John looks incredibly
Well, I don't know that
unhappy.
we love you, but we'll
His dad's
we'll be
name.
civil.
What?
His dad's name is Dick Schock.
Really?
Richard Schock. Yeah.
Oh my God, I've had Dick
Oh my
Schock many
God.
times.
Next week, the Wow Report will be replaced by an extra special episode of Dick Shock.
Well,
Dick
okay,
Schock.
I'm going to move the conversation on. Number 5.
Number 5.
Robin Roberts. I had no idea she was even gay. Like, that is like, I've always loved Robin Roberts on Good Morning America. And in fact, when she started co-hosting it with George Stephanopoulos back
Yes.
in 2005, that's when I basically abandoned the Today Show and made, because I just
No,
thought-
we had to abandon the Today
I
Show.
just-
We
but-
did.
I don't watch
For
it,
all
yeah.
sorts of reasons that we didn't know then, perhaps. And I just thought, Robin, she seems so nice and what a lovely person. I had no idea she was gay. And I even knew that she had breast cancer in 2007, and then she had that incredibly rare blood disease
Oh,
that
yeah.
almost killed her
Oh, God.
in 2012. And it was, and of course, of her return to work, that Christmas she did a Facebook post
With her-
in
with her
which
wife,
she
right?
thanked
Or
her
the girlfriend.
her girlfriend Amber Lane, and
Great name.
then the next couple of days later, she was on the on GMA talking about it. And I mean, oh my God, I can't believe that I went
you weren't
through
there that day.
the whole illness thing
Yes.
and knew about that, and somehow managed to miss the whole coming out story.
That's kind of a positive thing in a way that her coming out, while it was made big news, didn't dominate the headlines for months or shock people or
And
have
it
to
was-
change her chyron like gay GMA host.
It's Gay Morning America.
we have come pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like her, and I think she's.
my
Again,
God.
you trust those morning anchors you're supposed to, and they share so much of their lives with you, and she's exceptional. And so for her to share this as well, again, it's just so positive for people around America getting ready for breakfast, getting ready for school with their straight and their. Because the other thing about gay people, for the most part, is that we're born into straight families and straight communities. So it's like. It's nice to know there are people out there like us. Sometimes, if you're in a small town or something, it's only TV. When you see them.
We had Paul Nelson, Charles Nelson Riley.
Who was not out. We just suspected.
And Jim J. Bullock and Paul
Lind.
Paul Lind, yeah.
Well,
And
I
that was
suppose
it.
That also, like a fabulous camp persona, was one way of signaling that you were gay without sort of owning the potentially dangerous label. Not accusing them of cowardice.
Right,
but
but
it was
different times,
it was
different
a
times.
Different times, and I think that actually the Robin Roberts thing, you can contrast Robin with Ellen, because when Ellen came out years earlier, it was a whole big
Earth-shattering,
to-do
yes.
in terms of this person is going to lose
Yeah.
her career. And you know what?
She
very,
did.
very nearly did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
For a long
for
time.
a time she
Yeah,
did.
look at
yes.
her now.
And so, yes, exactly. And so
Another
the fact
coming
that
out
someone,
success story.
the
Ellen.
magnitude of Robin Roberts can just come out and it's like, okay, good.
Yep.
Welcome,
I missed that
such
day.
a great-
I missed that day.
I missed that.
He had an early breakfast meeting.
All right, so we've got to take a quick break. When we
Sure.
come back, we'll continue counting down the top 10 celebrity coming out stories in celebration of National Coming Out Day today. Hey, Blake, what do you got?
I want to know if you guys know why is National Coming Out Day today on October 11th? Why on this day?
I don't know. Better go to commercial.
Let's do that.
While I Google this.
We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. I'm Fenton here with Tom and James and Blake, and we're having a gay old coming out day.
Yeah, so-
Counting down.
The top
10.
celebrity stories.
Yeah. of gays coming out.
Yes, because it's coming out day, October 11th.
And I asked, why is National Coming Out Day on October 11th?
Because it was Oscar Wilde's birthday.
Because National Donut Day was already taken. I don't know.
It's on October 11th because it's the anniversary of the 1987 National March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights.
I went to that.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Was that the Million Man March?
I think so. 87?
87.
Oh no, I went.
No, Million Man March was that was in
You went in
90.
the right one. You went to 91.
Okay, I wasn't there. But God, thank you, whoever marched, and thank you.
Oh,
Coming
and so
Out
was
Day.
that when they invented it, Coming Out Day?
Yeah, the Coming Out Day was the next year in 88.
Oh, I see. Do you know, I mean, I probably told you this before, and it's embarrassing, but I don't mind admitting it. I knew about Stonewall riots.
Sure.
I had no idea that Gay Pride started 1 year later. That Gay Pride, the Gay Pride
When
March.
did you learn this?
When we made the Stonewall.
No, really?
You are
Yes.
from another country,
I
No,
will
I
give you that.
know.
Yeah, okay.
and we learn when we learn. There's no shame in learning something.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
There is no shame.
Number 4.
Number 4.
This coming out story is actually has some strong visuals historically, because the rest it's very private. We don't see things happening. But Greg Louganis, Olympic diver, one of the greatest American divers of all time, if not
Such
the,
a cutie.
I think he won consecutively, swept his categories in '84 and in '88, and
We were all in love with him.
we were in love with him. He's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Just
his
wonderful.
body,
Yes.
his skin,
Yes.
his speedos,
The smile.
his smile, and the perfection of his. You know, there's nothing sexier than people who are good at what they do.
People at the top of their game.
And he was the best.
Yes.
And then in the 88 Olympics in Seoul, he had an accident where he hit his head on the diving platform, and there was a thing of blood, and that was just
During the Olympics.
Yeah. And that was just shocking in of itself. And, you know, he recovered and everything happened. A year later, am I right? No. Not until 1993
Really?
on his 30. No, I'm messing up. No, but he okay, in 94. So all these years later, he encouraged by the people that run the gay games, the gay Olympics, which are called the gay games, encouraged him to come out officially in a pre-taped announcement. And they said that in 93, he had a final birthday party the year before that with his friends because he thought he'd be dead of AIDS. Because you think early 90s,
Yeah.
they hadn't come up with a cocktail yet. We were still popping AZTs, and AZTs didn't save you from HIV. So he came out at a very important time in 94 when we were all still dropping like flies. And, you know, he always said he always had an openly gay life. He wasn't somebody, you know, it wasn't like TMZ or social media. So he wasn't in the closet per se. But the idea that everybody, and we used to all watch the Olympics then, and a much massive thing, knew that Greg Louganis was gay and that he came out and talked about it and has lived his life in many ways. He's also an actor who's in the Valley of the Dolls reading, but as an advocate and as somebody that we know who's very healthy. He's in a relationship, you know, all kinds of great things.
But we need to back up a little bit because when he hit his head on the diving board
Right.
and the blood went into the water,
Yes.
there was the big to-do.
Blood in the pool drama.
Yeah.
it was
about-
afterwards, though.
But how far afterwards?
It
and when
was-
did he come out as
He came
being
out
HIV,
in
as AIDS?
in 94, he came out as
Both gay and HIV?
yes.
And that's when people
Yes.
remembered the
Went
blood?
flashback and like, oh my God, did he put everyone in danger? Did this happen?
And was there a backlash against him at the time? Did people...
a little bit because people are stupid. But
Yeah.
you know, it's you know, it's
Because I
Didn't lead to
remember the blood in the water and he
I
infect
remember.
everyone, blah, blah. But I had thought that was right after it happened, but it wasn't. It was
No.
many years.
Yes.
Okay. I'm conflating a bunch of ideas,
no, I know
things in
because
my head.
I was saying because you're right, but, and I sort of confused it. But like those visuals come into your head, like the blood, the thing.
Yes, I remember
and
it.
being HIV positive, and being afraid that you might infect someone.
Did
or
we suspect that he was gay though? Did we know, or was it a complete shock when he came out?
I didn't know for a fact. I don't think it was another one where again he lived an openly gay life.
Yeah.
He lived in L.A., but it wasn't something that you know.
I guess
the
you just,
public knew.
until someone says it publicly, you just don't know.
Unless-
I mean,
unless-
everyone
Right.
knew Barry Manilow. Everyone,
Right.
everyone sort of knew, but didn't actually
Yeah, we don't know them personally until they share their.
Well,
personal
I remember
information.
growing up and people in high school would argue whether Boy George was gay or not. I remember that was a big argument. He's gay. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Right, guessing games don't help us. I think people being clear is a great thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Brilliantly put.
Very.
Lord, there's no words after that. Number 3, James.
I know you're being so inspiring, and I keep dragging it back
No, you're
down
good.
again.
Well,
Here
who
we
you got?
go.
Who you got? Do your
Okay.
Number 3.
This is another tricky one. I'm going to talk about Caitlyn Jenner coming out because, you know, when she came out on Diane Sawyer in April of 2015, it was seismic. It was huge when she came out as transgender. Yeah. And then quickly afterwards was the Vanity Fair cover that Annie Leibovitz shot, and she's in the white bathing suit, and she's got the auburn curls going down, and she looked absolutely smashing. She looked fabulous. Yeah. And at the time, remember, Call Me Caitlyn was the cover title, like Call Me Ishmael. And then she set a lot of records. Right afterwards, she joined Twitter, and she beat Barack Obama for the most Twitter followers in the least amount. 1 million people in 2 hours or something like that. She beat President Barack Obama. She got the Teen Choice Award 2 months later for Social Media Queen. Glamour Magazine 25 Women of the Year, Entertainment Weekly Entertainer of the Year, Top One Time Magazine. She was the most searched celebrity on Google and Bing. She won the Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the ESPYs. Yep. She was the Advocates Person of the Year. She was Out Magazine's Person of the Year. All this stuff happened, and yet...
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
There's two sides. I know where you're going.
Okay,
because the things that she said since then, her republicanism, her lack of political awareness has definitely dinged her in my mind, a lot of people's mind. But I will tell you, as the head of development at World of Wonder, a company that has been doing all kinds of programming, including trans programming, since the late 90s or before, trying to sell a show with trans characters in our business prior to Caitlyn coming out was next to impossible. It happened to the strength of Randy and Fenton's perseverance and salesmanship, but and they made many wonderful projects. But until after that time, people were hungry for it. Yeah, it was, and you know, fads come and go, but once that door is open, once it's like there are trans stories. I just went the other night to see suddenly a Little Shop of Horrors with M.J. Rodriguez in the lead role, a one from Pose. So it's like,
well, Vicky Vox was the plant in London.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, exactly. And I just want to add to that because I think that this thing about the guessing game is you can say that this person is this person is that. I so remember rumors about Caitlyn being trans.
Well, no, for 20 years.
And not actually believing it.
No.
Thinking it's just ridiculous.
But if it were true, we'd know, or it's too exact. Yeah.
No, but there had been rumors of prior to her transitioning that she was cross-dressing in secret. I remember hearing that for 20 years before. Family Guy would hammer on it every couple episodes.
But I always thought it was one of
urban myth.
And this speaks to it, the fact that by virtue of her not coming out, and this isn't a criticism at all, but I thought it was a preposterous, malicious story made up. I've got a point here, James, I want to make, which is the idea that by not naming it, by not owning it, you can create something that seems wrong or because the framing of all
dark
those
and
rumors,
creepy. Yes,
exactly, it was dark and creepy and negative, and so you end up buying into an idea that there is something wrong about this, or something shameful about it, or something not right. The light of just owning it dissipates, and I'm not. But
no. But there was months prior to it. She went to have her Adam's apple shaved, and that was in all the news. And people were saying, "What is going on? What is going on?" And you could see on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, you could see that there was a transition happening. But my point is, for the whole thing, is that yes, the Republicanism and the politics have, like you said, have tainted her a bit. But we cannot discount the importance of what she did for the trans community.
And the more people that come out, there's going to be Republican ones.
Yeah.
There's going to be ones you don't agree with.
Yeah.
So the size of her contribution by just taking that action is bigger than her.
Yeah, exactly.
It's changed the world.
It did change the world.
And then you have a human being who's flawed and we may or may not agree with, and someone who didn't belong probably to a community.
Right.
You know, because of the schism. So
and the fame was so it was outsized.
So you know, we all need to learn. We don't all even become. We don't all jump out of the closet and are perfectly politically correct either.
And right. And we're not all like perfectly.
And she may or may not someday.
And also, I think it's really good that all gays, for example, are not the same.
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Like, it's fine to be. You're wrong if you're a Republican, but it's fine. Just,
You have every right to be wrong.
It's just when you're hurting your own community and shooting yourself in the foot
Right.
at the same
Which
time.
is- which
but
is-
that's a whole separate.
It's a separate issue
yeah.
for than you coming out, you Caitlyn Jenner telling us who you really are.
Yeah.
Changed the
Exactly.
world.
And it was-
by not being out, we're all in some ways complicit or colluding in hurting our community. And I good knows I did that for many years because I just wasn't out. I wasn't in.
Yep.
But it wasn't officially out.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2.
Skipper and Ping. Do you know who Skipper and Ping are?
I think I should, but I don't.
They're a couple of gay penguins.
Oh, I love
Real
this
life
story.
penguins, not
Real life.
anime. Okay. I don't know. I thought it was.
I thought it was like
Nickelodeon show.
I thought it was a new category of gay, like otter and bear and penguin. I'm a manatee. I hope you.
Well, now there's another couple,
Well,
right?
Okay, yes. I mean, that was the funny thing because Skipper and Ping, I was aware of earlier in the summer.
Where do they
because
live? Where do they live?
They live in Berlin Zoo.
Okay, well, anything in Berlin.
They're gay emperor penguins. And they were doing things like sitting on stones, it's so poignant, trying to hatch them. And then it so happened in Berlin Zoo, a female abandoned an egg she had laid. So the zookeepers took the egg and gave it to Skipper and Ping. And the internet was alive because they were, they were
so
incubating.
beautiful.
Sitting on the stones really hurts.
They were incubating an egg and they were doing really well.
What happened?
I'm sorry, it's not a happy ending.
No.
The egg wasn't fertilized, so it didn't work out this time. And-
Were they
and,
heartbroken? Did anyone interview them?
The news, it sort of just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's sort of been it's a sad story. It's
It
not,
is.
But, try again.
Exactly.
Oh, wait,
again.
weren't there other penguins who then had it? They
There
had
are.
a triad with
And-
a girl. They had a female penguin.
Well, as a matter of fact, the internet is rich with gay penguin stories. Because in the course of looking up Skipper and Ping, I came across Rocky and Marama. Rocky and Marama are at the London Sea Life London Aquarium, and they have adopted just recently. They're a lesbian penguin couple.
Good for them.
Yeah, lovely. They have adopted or been a little baby penguin, and the zookeepers or the aquarium keepers aren't giving the penguin, the baby penguin, a gender. They're not assigning it a gender. It's a genderless penguin.
Very
It's a
penguin
genderless
progressive.
penguin. And of course, people are up in arms and
No, I think
outraged.
that's interesting.
I think it's fantastic, right?
They're going to let the penguin decide its gender.
They're going to let the penguin
Although we're
decide.
talking about sexual preference, sexual
which is
orientation
different. Which is
versus gender.
They are
identity.
just going to let the
There's a lot going on at the
penguin
London Zoo,
figure.
ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Buy the program. Get the listen on speakers because you're not going to just. This is not just a walk around. This
maybe
is
I should stop there because then there's Roy and Silo, and this goes back. This is actually 1998, actually. They were doing mating rituals. Roy and Silo, you can go see them in New York Central Park Zoo. Yes, they are 2 male chinstrap penguins, and they've been attempting to hatch rocks and things as
I'm headed to New York
Still
for a long
to
weekend.
this day,
I might have to go and visit.
Nobody's given them anything.
Well,
They-
interestingly, the sequel there is, in fact, Roy and Silo are very famous because there was a book called And Tango Makes 3.
I remember that.
Based on the story of them.
Yes, I read that.
And tells the story of a baby penguin they adopted. But
I think I have it at home.
leave it to the Christian Monitor to ruin our days.
What?
They say that one of the penguins left the partner and took up with a female penguin from California and fathered a chick.
Oh.
So I suppose in a way, where are we going with this? Circling back
He
to
was
open
bi.
relationships.
Yes.
It's like,
He was a bi penguin.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
is this is not unusual for penguins to have homosexual relationships?
Well, apparently
in nature.
not. I
Exactly.
thought.
Well, remember we've just seen the lions that were just humping like bunnies.
Yes.
Remember that the two hot lions?
I do.
Okay, we're veering off into.
It's National Coming Out Day, even for penguins.
And I will just tell you, next week, October 17th, our documentary Liberty, Mother of Exiles, premieres on HBO.
Yes.
Nice.
And I can't argue that the Statue of Liberty is gay, but does have a little resonance with coming out because there's one of the things in the film is that Elizabeth Mitchell, who wrote this book, Freedom's Torch, Liberty's Torch, says that the sculptor, Auguste Bartholdi, based the face of the sculpture not on his mother, as has been rumored and believed for many years, but on his brother.
That's why Lady Liberty is a very handsome lady.
She is, yes.
That's next Thursday on HBO, and it'll also be on HBO Go and HBO Now.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Such a timely...
And on demand.
And
what a great time for a documentary about the Statue of Liberty and what it means.
Yeah,
Good
definitely.
timing.
Oh, thank you.
I can't wait to see him.
You're listening to Our Report on Radio Andy. We'll be right back after the break.
Number 1 coming up.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm here with James and Tom and Blake, and we have been doing a sort of special countdown in honor of National Coming Out Day, celebrating the celebrities who've come out and their stories, right?
Yes.
Not all of them, because there's so many.
Right.
But
Just
some
the
of
ones
our...
that made us go, wow, girl.
There you go.
We finally get it. Number 1. Things that make us go, wow, girl.
I was going to say, it's with a little more conviction, let's try. Because you seemed a little tentative there.
I was trying it out. I was testing it. I have number 1.
Okay, who's number 1?
It's political.
Yeah?
Number 1.
Oh.
Mike Pence has come out as homosexual.
We knew it all along.
Oh, and I'm kidding, and I guess we're shaming, and we're terrible people, but come on.
Are we shaming?
No,
Are we just
because
being
we have
free?
learned that people that from your earlier one, the guy that did all that gay conversion,
Yes.
it's like the people, this is the thing, people who are obsessed with homosexuals and that homosexuality is bad, they are gay. It's a fact. I would say Pence.
There's some self-loathing
and
there.
Mother,
There's some, yes.
There's some energy thou protestest too much. So we're taking Mike Pence off, and
And we aren't welcoming him with open arms.
But
Well,
actually,
when he
we'll
does
wait
come
and
out.
see.
before you go on, the proof I have that Mike Pence is gay
yes.
is based on his wife, Karen Pence,
Oh.
who invented the least useful item in existence, the towel charm.
Oh, I remember
Towel
that.
charms.
Yes, when she tried to market them.
As she wrote, I've so many times when I was swimming at a friend's beach house, pool, or lake house, using their matching beautiful beach towels. Lo and behold, I would go into the water for a dip or up to the house for a beverage. And when I came back to my towel, it was gone. Someone else had grabbed my towel unknowingly because all the towels looked the same.
What do you do?
You snap on one of Karen Pence's $6.25 towel charms. I mean, just so ridiculous.
No,
Just
I think
so-
I want one.
Only a gay man could marry a woman like that.
I'm the kind of gay man that likes a dirty towel, but that's enough about me. I want to shift from Mike Pence
Number 1.
and just give a big salute to Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, God
who
bless him.
came
Love
out
him.
in 2015, and as he's reviewed at the September Democratic debate, where he was the first presidential candidate to talk about coming out from that podium. And he said he had just come back in 2005 from the deployment in Iraq war and realized that you only get to live one life. And I was not interested in not knowing what it was like to be in love any longer. So I just came out. He wanted to be in love.
So
That's
he
pretty
did he come out in
powerful.
2005 or 15?
15.
Oh, okay.
2015.
I
And of
had
course
no
it's-
idea what kind of professional setback it would be, especially because inconveniently it was an election year in my socially conservative community, he said, noting that he was reelected with an 80% vote. What I learned was that trust can be reciprocated, and that part of how you can win and deserve to win is to know what's worth more to you than winning.
First of all,
Trust.
Oh my God,
we
that's
all
so
want
beautiful.
trust, right? You want love and you want trust in life. You have to be open.
And what's fantastic is that it is not an issue. It has not been an issue once on the campaign trail so far this year. I've heard very little about any
right.
pushback. And just on a side note, I love his husband Jason. They are so cute together. I just love them.
Well, and I love his thing. I wanted to. What was it? I didn't want to. I wanted to know what it was to be in love. Because how can you love and be in love if it's all in secret? It's sort of right. Is that it?
Well, how are you going to love yourself? How can you love somebody? How can you love
Someone
How
else.
How you
Yeah,
gonna love
you love
yourself
yourself,
if you can't love somebody else?
Can I get an amen up in here?
On
Amen.
that note,
Thanks for tuning in to the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM. Previous episodes are on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents. Same time, same place next week. Until then, come out.
Wherever you are.
and do something that makes the world go.
Wow.
Girl.
Oh, and this just in, Stonewall Out Loud is airing on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents, in celebration of National Coming Out Day, which is October 11th. But here at World of Wonder, it's Coming Out Day every day.
That's right. It's a great documentary. Great. Know your history.
It's only half an hour.
I'm in.